That was good.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Historic Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. Mrs. King, now we call the roll, please.
Okay, and for the record, it's 6:31. And we have Director Mack,
Yes.
Director Britton,
Present.
Director Daniel,
Hello.
Director Washington. Director Gardner is not here tonight. Vice Chair Williams.
Present.
And Chair Randolph.
Here. Let's all stand, please, for the invocation, meditation. And preceding it will be the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Next, we have the open period for citizens' participation.
We have no participation at this.
We have no citizen participation at this time. Okay, and the consent agenda. Let's move for a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's the move in second. If there's no discussion, all those apply by saying aye. Any opposed, please? Okay, motion carried. Next, we would have the board discussion on the grant for the club eating. The presentation. Okay. Come to the mic and introduce yourself, please, and we'd like to hear your presentation.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Malcolm Jones. I am the owner of Maj Architecture and Design, and it's a pleasure to be here this evening. So, just to kind of set the stage, this is an introduction, not so much a presentation. There's work that we have to do to get to a point of a presentation, but the status of the project currently is that we are in the process of working with the Historic Preservation Officer, Mr. Coben, along with recently met the Historic Preservation Board, and I've got an understanding of where we currently are in the development of that, as well as coordinating things with the state. So the building right now, if you've seen it, it wasn't quite a state of disrepair. It since has been demolished to a certain extent for safety reasons. There was asbestos that was discovered along with other hazards that were present. So now the building currently stands with exterior walls and a foundation. So myself and my team, we are, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to work with the town of Eatonville. I'm a Tampa native. I've been in Orlando for about the last 6 years. However, I've had the opportunity to engage with Eatonville on more than one occasion. I've had the opportunity to meet a few of you as well. But I do have a nonprofit called Black Architects in Macon, Orlando. And we introduce architecture to middle school, high school students, and we've engaged with the Boys and Girls Club in Eatonville quite a bit. And so that was kind of my introduction to the town of Eatonville. And so for me, I've grown an affinity for the town. I've learned a lot. Unfortunately, as it is, I was not aware of the town of Eatonville prior to my moving to Orlando. And I think that is a shame that not many people are aware of the history of Eatonville. And so in being involved in this process and in this project, I absolutely want to put my best foot forward and ensure that we do everything that is necessary to develop a project and bring back the life to Club Eden. So on currently working with Miss Wanda Randolph, and we are planning a visioning session. We're looking for the first week or first 2 weeks of October. And in that business session, the plan is to engage with the town, similar to how we have this room set up now. We'll ask just questions. It's opportunity for me to get understanding of the history of people's thoughts, kind of just compile details. And then with that information, what I'll do is essentially use that as design drivers, right? And working with the owner and working with the State Department as well, along with Mr. Cobbin, and the Historic Board to ultimately, it's very difficult in the state that the building is in now to preserve history that does not exist, unfortunately, right? But in doing our due diligence, we can pull elements from what we can discover from the stories as well as from photos of historic images of the building, and reintroduce that in ways that's tasteful, ways that brings the building to a modern status, and something that would be ultimately a building that is suitable for the use of the town, right? There's been some interesting ideas as well, and things that are still developing, so I don't want to put too much to the forefront prior to us actually establishing concrete ideas. But I'm well aware that the town unfortunately didn't win the bid for the African American Museum. And so, in kind of just brainstorming ideas with Mr. Moran, there's been thought of introducing some sort of gallery space to the building, if that would be of interest to the town. And that could potentially become a space that is utilized to highlight history of the town, in tandem with places like this Ordinary History Museum and other well-established places around the town. So with that said, I just wanted to make sure I introduced myself, came before the board today and before the town. If anybody has any questions for me at this moment in time, I'm more than open to answer those. So thank you very much.
Okay, any questions? Can you just show the two pictures for those who may not be familiar with the site? So everyone can see exactly the location.
So that's the building, probably about a couple months back or so, maybe a little further. As it stood when I first came by the site. So as you can see, it's has this mansard roof. Behind that mansard is a flat roof. For those who haven't had the opportunity to peek inside, if you have ever seen any movie that has had zombies in it, unfortunately as it is, it was very dilapidated, right? And so you can kind of get that picture in your head. The roof was actually on the ground, and it was daylight as far as you can see. And then there was vegetation that began to grow on the inside because of all the rain and other elements that was coming in there. There were electrical wiring hanging down, structural elements hanging down, so on and so forth. The building as it currently stands now, and after it's I'm gonna be for the oh yeah, there's storage both. Sorry, you can go back for a moment then.
We have more pictures you want to keep it.
And you can just go through, I'll just kind of talk then. And so you can see there's been modifications and changes. The oldest set of plans that I've been able to come across, and this is provided by Ms. Wanda and Mr. Cobbin to his research, is from the 90s, I believe. 97, right? And that shows the in addition happening and some modifications to the interior on the back of the building. That gable roof that's there in the center obviously had been gone for quite some time. And then that mansard roofs are that portion that kind of comes down the side of the roof. So that's what's been added on as an application. It was more so an aesthetic thing on the building. Here you can see the demolition take place. So you can see some of the images of the interior. There was a opening created on the side of the building in order for that giant piece of machinery to enter safely and to be able to navigate. Only thing that currently stands now are the exterior block walls, along with a set of stairs that did lead to a second floor. And also there are some stub outs for like old plumbing that's still visible stand pipes as well for other plumbing purposes, fire sprinklers such as that. You can just yeah, so this is essentially what you would see now. So you can actually see where the building was pieced together as far as it being expanded over time. For where the original building started and stopped to where the addition in the rear, and then that beam that you can see in the image to the far left that picks that up. It connects the two portions of the building together. And yeah, so it's once you walk through, you're still outside, and so we have a lot of work that needs to be done, a lot of design that needs to go into this, a lot of thought that needs to go into it. But yeah, we are clear and we're ready.
That picture.
That's left. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We got all the, I pass by the building just about every day. Now I'm just wondering, the current walls and flooring, is that suitable to build on presently?
So currently they're being braced. From what we can see without doing an in-depth scan, it doesn't look like there's much rebar in the existing block walls. I'm not sure how many of the cells are actually fully poured. And then the same can be said for the foundation. I'm unsure, but if I had to take a wild guess, there's probably not a current code. We do have to do some cutouts probably to do some investigation to determine how much rebar is actually present. But ultimately, our goal is to try to preserve what is left. But if we have to make some decisions, unfortunately, but we will try to build back as much as possible. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barney, do you have a word to say, or are you okay?
I mean, also,
You extended.
I think I'm David. I've owned the building for about 7 years. I'm here to all of you to ask any questions you may have. And it's very important for me to let everyone know that we never meant to take away any more than it was absolutely necessary for safety reasons. The more you take, the more it takes to build it back. So, logically, we really did not want to remove much, but even when I bought the building 7.5 years ago, half of it had no roof. So it's been out in the open. Right now it's being braced from the inside, and I'd be very happy to give anyone a walking tour. It's very extensively braced. It's not gonna fall. And the header section, which is the top section, is fully poured with concrete and has rebars. So it's not in danger of any kind. And it's been like that for many, many years, unfortunately. So we'll definitely 100% will be doing the right thing, follow procedures, and counting on your involvement 100%. We're here to listen, and we're absolutely here to do the right thing. The maximum amount of respect to history and the desire of the town. So if any of you have any questions about technicalities, or it was actually about 3 months ago, on top of everything else, it was flooded by accident. The town was testing water pipes, and one of them got turned on and was going on for a whole month. I mean, it's going on for a whole hour. So on top of everything else, all the walls got extremely wet. So that even added more, to the existing issues. But the whole thing started out by having the asbestos on the outside, which kind of liability-wise forced us to remove that whole section, which was the overhang that was attached to some of the wall sections, and whatever we did, every inch of it had to be done, unfortunately. So we should have communicated more, and we should have invited you prior, I guess, but we proceeded with caution. We put permits, everything was approved. We did the whole demolition with the CRA directors, full approval. So as I said, I'm widely available if any one of you want to. It really looks like a historic site. It's very moving. It shows the existing, the previous diamond-shaped windows where there used to be the glass blocks. It actually revealed some elements that were not visibly before. So, I'm at your full disposal.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Just to let everyone know that Mr. David Barney is actually the owner of the building, the property. All right, thank you. Okay, next we will have a presentation, a debrief on the executive director hiring process from Mrs. Nicole Washington, our HR specialist.
Good morning, Chair and Directors, and good morning, good evening. rather. So I just wanted to give a brief overview of where we are. I know I sent the email to the board on the 9th of the 6 finalists after compiling the scoring matrices that I received from some of the board directors. So October 3rd, Thursday, October 3rd, will be the interviews that we will interview those candidates. You will score each interview. We will have another special meeting. I hadn't gotten with the clerk to poll that, but we will have a special meeting after that to do the 3 candidates, the 3 finalists. The board can ask any other follow-up questions that they have from the previous interviews, and from that, the board will decide and the chair will decide what candidate that you would like to bring to the board. So the goal is to have a executive director here starting by the next CRA meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone have any questions?
I just wanna know why, what was the delay? You know, I know we talked about supposed to be before this meeting here. Again, I'm just asking, you know, what was the delay for doing the process to, going a month out?
I was waiting for board members' scoring matrices, so you know, they didn't come exactly at the time that I asked, so I was waiting.
Then we wanted to give everyone a fair opportunity as a member of the board, you know, to make sure that your submission actually matters and it counts. So it was just a small delay of that. So this is the reason why we want to give everybody a little time to kind of space it in between. So hopefully by the next meeting, October 17th, we would like to make sure that our executive director will be the person who will be in his or her place at that meeting. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Next, we have board decisions. Approval, resolution CRAR 2024-9. Mrs. King, would you read the preamble? Please.
Resolution CRA-R-2024-9. Resolution of the Board of Directors of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, CRA, approving the memorandum of understanding with the Health Community Development Corporation, Health CDC, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Okay, you have heard the preamble. What's your motion? Is there a motion second?
Quick question.
Discussion?
I noticed that this item has come back before us. I see even in our notes that it was tabled from the February meeting. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we were waiting for a copy of the MOU. Has anything changed since then? No, we were waiting for like a physical copy of whatever the understanding is supposed to include. Mhm. I think that was why we tabled it the last time.
Okay.
I mean, I see that the resolution is for an MOU, but I thought that there would be an MOU attached.
I thought sure there was I thought for sure that we had a MOU for this. Okay. Because Mrs. Nicole Oria is from the Health Center. Did we ever come up with a resolution, an MOU
An initial copy was,
She needs to.
Yes, you go to the vote, please. Thank you. Sorry.
a version was sent to the former CRA director, for it to go back and forth to get looked over and approved, and we didn't get to that next step. So a version was sent, but I don't know if it went beyond her. So we can create another one. Yes.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. I know that, there's been a kind of change of the guard since then. You said that, there was a version that was sent to her.
I believe there was.
Also, because I don't want to make you come over if y'all kind of had a draft going, is it possible to get that draft sent over to the board
Absolutely.
to review so that
Yeah.
we don't have to continue to table this item?
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful. We can do that. And then you have that ready for the next meeting?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And the MOU just spelled out specifically what our function would be as far as what we would deliver and how we would work with the resident.
Okay, and then I would check the system just to double check to see if there's one there.
Okay.
Because it may be there or it may not, but if not, then we will certainly have this for the next meeting.
So should
Okay,
we
so
table
we-
this,
yeah.
resolution into the
Need
next
a
meeting?
motion to table.
So,
Take back my motion.
yeah, we need to rescind the,
To
original.
rescind, yeah,
Yeah, we
a
said-
motion to rescind. The motion for resolution 224-9.
So move.
So move. Is there a second?
Second.
Is the move in second? All those in favor?
Alright.
Aye. Thank you. All right, thank you, Mrs. Nicole. They do such a wonderful, service here in town of Beacondale and very deserving of, a partnership with the town as a whole. Thank you. All right. Next, we will have the approval of resolution CRA 2024-33. Mrs. King, could you read the preamble for that, please?
Yes.
The funding.
Resolution CRA R 2024 A resolution of the Board of Directors of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, TOCRA, Eatonville, Florida, Board of Directors approving cultural arts funding in the amount of $2,000 for conflict severability and an effective date.
And you have heard the resolution read, I have motion. Is there a motion?
So, second.
So, second, and a discussion. Okay, Director Creighton.
Yes, ma'am. So my first question is in regards to the budget line item. The one that's listed is titled Infrastructure Improvement. And I just want to ensure that if we move forward with this, that it's coming from the correct line item. Reason that it's coming from infrastructure improvement. Am I reading the wrong line? 6301. If you look down there under fiscal and efficiency data, and it says what the line item is, but the line item that matches in the budget is, infrastructure improvement.
I don't know, I just put that one in
Where should it be coming from?
promotions.
Motion. Put general to talk about.
Which line item was that again?
I don't have my sheet with me.
The line item that's listed is line 6301. And, promotional activities is 4,800.
So it should be 4,800. I don't know who put that in there. And
4,800.
isn't the promotional activities? Is it just 2,500 in there, or is this the wrong budget?
According to my last copy of the budget, which I think we received back in the top of September.
Mhm.
Promotional had 2,500 available in it.
I'm saying, I'm looking at it right here.
And that's for 2,000. It's 2,500.
It's 2,500 in that line item, and they're only asking for 2,000.
It's 2,500.
It's, yeah, it's 2,500 in that line item, and they're only asking for 2,000. 2,500 in that line item, and they're only asking for 2,000. 2,000 in that line item, and they're only asking for 2,000. So do we want to amend this to come from the correct line item?
It definitely come from the right budget line, like 4,800. I don't have that in front of me.
I got it, 2,500 in it. And they got it from, you said 6,300 was the,
6301 is labeled infrastructure improvement.
yes, yeah, that's the one that got with $283,000 in, right?
Right.
We don't want that one. It's good. You can say, but
Can you give me the budget line item, the correct one, please?
The correct line item, I'll read the entire thing for you, is, let me make sure I'm looking at the right line. Promotion. 4,800 is the last one. It's 303-0515-515-4800.
Now, my concern regarding this item, this came up before. I believe this is probably the third time. I think the first time the event went on. The second time when this came up, it was challenged and wasn't conducive to funds from the CRA. And it was a matter of difference of some interpretation from that was given from Attorney Shepherd and also from our attorney that represents the CRA. So I also consider the training that had taken place back about 2 years ago about this particular issues funding the CRA. I don't object to events going on, but I think, in my opinion, that if we have entities that would like to donate for that line item to have special events, I think that would be most appropriate. But I'm not very sold on taking tax increment dollars for light areas and use it for special events. That's just my opinion as to how I feel about this line item. And I'm not saying I don't oppose to having events. I think that's a good thing that we do have events. But I think it has to be done in the right way, the right setting. Because right now we're trying to do as much as we can to try to fund a lot of projects that we have and like to try to reserve a lot of those funds for that. So that's my position.
But mine was the same, sorry, Woodman Washington, mine was the same as Councilwoman. I just noticed the budgetary line item. That was a good catch. I didn't notice that one. I was basically going on what Attorney Shepherd had said before when this item came up before. And it failed with that vote was what, 5-1 or
5-1.
5-1 or 6-1, I'm not sure. Yeah, 6-1. And I would like for the attorneys, if one is having one opinion and the other another, they should have gotten together to say this is that's what they could have came to the consensus of, if this is permittable or not, So until I get that, I won't be in favor of that as well.
I understand that, but I think Mr. Jackson spoke to that previously meeting. I think about this, and I did my research about City of Orlando doing what they are program. We're doing special events in their area, and they doing the same, doing these giving funds in certain areas for special events. And I think I said something. I missed the last meeting in August. I was at a conference and I couldn't make the meeting because I was in a session. But I did send something over to Ms. King. I don't know if y'all got this or not. But what the synergies of City of Orlando is doing with special event programming, CRA special event grant program supports diversity and cultural opportunities to encourage variety of entertainment within the areas. This purpose of this program is to provide funding through grants and support events. So they're doing things in their program. I don't know if she said this to you guys. It's established and it tells you what they're doing in areas. Minority women, entrepreneurial business assistants, they're doing all those things in the area. getting funds to their areas. So if board members are on the take direction of doing events of any kind, that's what the funds are for. So we send there saying, don't do this fund, we're gonna get this person funds, we're not gonna get this person funds. If you wanna do something or you wanna head something, it's money's there to do that if it fits in the CRA. Not saying, oh, because this attorney, that attorney, I think this attorney here, I think he spoke about that recently. And when I pulled this up, other cities are doing it. So I don't know why we taking the, well, we don't do it. We don't want to support special events or any kind of events you might want to do. Because if you don't support this one, how am I supposed to support something that's not want to do? So it's not fair to say, well, if you want to do a women's such and such entrepreneur thing, what they doing here in City Orlando, they doing it. So don't say funds are not available or can't do something. You can do it. So let's not make that an issue. So if you just don't want to support anything, that's fine and dandy. So we have funds. So at October 1st, we send the money back to Orlando Town Evil. That's what we're gonna do. Because you're supposed to close out. You don't supposed to have funds at the end of the year. If you ain't, it's just not budgetary. So do we have the 200-some-thousand that we had in that line of 63, whatever you said, earmarked for something? If not, let's send it back. If y'all playing this kind of thing, send the money back because you're supposed to use the fund. When I was up in at the conference city, I think it's up in the long up North Florida. They turned this area in because they weren't doing nothing. They had to turn everything back, turn the money in and everything because they weren't doing nothing with it. Now, who does that? You get free money and don't produce programs for your city in your blighted area when you have this CRAs in your area. So it's up to, I mean, I'm cool with that, but we need to get out that situation that we can't do something. That's all I do.
I'd like to ask a question. For the city of Orlando, do you know where the funds came from?
Sure.
Yeah, but I'm saying what one source of the CRA? Is it from donations or private donations? Because sometimes what CRAs, what they will do is that they will raise money. When they raise money, that means that they're getting donations from corporations, businesses, or whatever for these kinds of events. So that way they will have those events in their budget to have. And that way they're utilizing the other funds in blight areas to help with painting houses and doing things with the infrastructure, those types of things. So I'd like to give a ruling from Attorney Jackson. Again, if you can just kind of give us some legal highlights on this particular subject, please.
So Attorney Shepherd and I have been in communication about this, and it appears that in 2019 there was some change in the language which took out to include, and so the language claim change, in my perspective, does not change what my opinion was with regards to the use of CRA funds for special events, because the events that are spoken of for the promotion of themed tourism within the town of Beeville is within the plan. And it appears that the CRA is following this plan by using the funds in this manner because it is within the plan. Now, I think that what it also would require is that there's some presence of the CRA by way of promotional material and different things like that. But I don't think that this was the language in the statute is a complete bar because this is within the plan and the plan has not changed. And so the opinion that I drafted in 2023 with regards to the use of CRA funds for promotional events, if the board approves it, I believe it's still applicable given what the plan says.
Okay, so just to get some clarity, if it's in the plan, we can do it. Okay? All right. Yes.
Just for further clarification, because I know this was a topic of discussion when we were discussing the Zora Festival and having a financial presence with that special event. And the 2014 legal opinion from, I believe, the Attorney General did speak to the fluidity of the language that would allow us to partake in these type of events if it is included in the plan. We do know that the 1997 plan does make way for cultural events, i.e. the Zora Festival. But we also see the clarity in those cultural events as well. We know that the Zora Festival is a arts and culture festival. So I think that if we could find some more clarity to how this is a arts and culture type of event, that might make some of us feel better. I would also agree that we should finalize what legal opinion we're going to reference when making these decisions, because I do remember the email that was sent over by Attorney Jackson last year regarding that 2014. I do remember the discussion that we had as it regards to his legal opinion about special events, but that wrench that Shepherd threw in at the last meeting, where those 3 or 5 words brought more clarity to the legality of our authority to spend said dollars on this type of event, makes me uncomfortable in being responsible for a vote that would spend tax increment dollars for an event that is not clearly a culture and arts event. I did miss the first one, and so I know Director Washington, you can give some more insight on how this is categorized as an art and culture event. And then I also think that we need to just kind of buckle down what legal opinion we want to use moving forward. I'm just not comfortable putting my name on a vote as somebody that the community have entrusted with these responsibilities if there is not clarity from legal. I don't want to be responsible for any kind of retroactive penalties that we could be subject to if we do not make this decision correctly. I would also like to add that in the first application that we did approve by vote for this event back in, I believe it was May, was a reimbursement option that allowed for them to have their event and then still allow for funds to be distributed after their event was settled and receipts and invoices were produced to the board, and then those funds were released. But again, I would just feel more comfortable if we had some clear direction on where this board stands on the legal opinion of our authority to use these funds for these type of events. I also know that we're working on kind of revamping our plan. And so I think that this is something that we should take into consideration when we're kind of redoing that, just so that we're clear moving forward, because I know other entities like Director Washington have mentioned have come forward to this board and have expressed that they would like to receive some financial support from this agency. And so it would kind of help moving forward if we knew which direction we were leaning in legally. So maybe if Director Washington can give some additional clarity to the culture and arts portion of it. And then if we could decide as a board, whether we want to support it or not, and even moving forward, since it is a reimbursable type of grant, if we want to maybe table it until we decide and then bring it back up, it would move the same way. The event is Saturday. So I think it would do us some justice to kind of discuss it a little bit more.
The one thing that I would, I don't want to say agree, because there was no disagreement, as I said, as I read through what Attorney Shepherd has done and what he said, and what I looked at the plan to say. But the one thing I would probably amend, so to speak, would probably not refer to it necessarily as a grant. I think that clearly should not be notated as such. I'll say it like that, but the use of the funds, as long as it fits within the plan as it looks as if it does, or if this board determines, I don't want to say what I think or don't think, if this board determines that it fits within the plan for themed tourism, then I think it's appropriate, but I think that it should not be referred to as a grant.
Okay.
If I can add also, I'm sorry, I drew a blank. Oh, in regards to the promotional, because I know that this was a discussion when we had this conversation back in May. And when we talked about what promotional activities meant, we did reference that the CRA needed to be represented in some fashion. And I know that there was some discontentment with the lack, if you want to call it that, of attention to the CRA. I took the same training that Chair Randolph is referencing, and they kind of gave some suggestions on how to do that. For example, if there is a tent out there where the CRA is represented and we're talking about our different programs and things like that, that would check that promotional box, if you will. So I think that in further discussion, we should talk about that too, because if we can be out there at the event and promote ourselves and our agency and our objectives, I think that that would kind of calm some minds as well.
But we did, when I put this on the agenda for last month, I did talk with the intern, with Ms. Randolph, about what we have in office to promote the CRA. So main thing is, do we have the booklets, brochures to do that? And we talked about that. She will have that stuff for us if that's the case. Well, because last time we missed that. We did miss that because nobody told us that. But I didn't have no problem doing that regardless. If they did or didn't, we would definitely have CRA. I have stuff for the voters registration, people to vote for. I have stuff for Grace Nursery. I have a lot of things I'm gonna put out there at this table to represent Duke Energy, CRA, Eatonville, the Chitlin Circuit. I have brochures for the Chitlin Circuit. I have a lot of stuff I have personally that I will display out there. So that's not gonna be an issue, promoting the town of Eatonville. And that's what it's all about, promoting town of Eatonville and the CRA. That's what it does. If they bring 10 people from out Orlando, Volusia County, Ormond Beach, we have people coming to Ormond Beach, so that's doing the job of the CRA, bringing people to your town. And that's what Sarah's all about. It's not about what one of us do up here. If you're doing something to bring people to your community, it's a plus. And that's what it's all about. It's not about me. It's not about $2,000 or whatever. It is about being a partner with people doing something in your town. Being a partner, it's not, oh, we give you 2,000. If it's 1,000, if it's 1,500, be a partner. Represent Eatonville as the CRA is on board with doing this. When other cities see you doing that, oh, your CRA following this, the town of Eatonville supporting. Yes, it's a win-win. It's not about me. It's not about other individuals. It's about bringing people to your community. And when I go to the farmers market, when I go to other places, people say, where you from? 810 farmers market. People from Jacksonville. People come from all over. Mississippi with the watermelons, they come from all over. That's what it's all about. It's love seeing people come to Eatonville and do something. I'm tired of going to other places, because I go to a lot of places, and see people doing events and doing well. I don't know if there's politics involved in that, but City Park, like I said, I tell you all the time, I'm competing with City Park. Park is doing something every month or every other week. And one time they won't let us in there to do anything. But now you see that vision that bringing people to the park, supporting the amphitheater, and people love it. What happened is, oh, that's a good idea. I might want to do something there. That's what happened. They get there. They rent that amphitheater and they do an event. That's what it's all about. We don't have that kind of stuff yet, but that's what we're going to do. So we start growing it, when we grow it, people start coming more. And that's what it's all about. So, you can deny it, whatever, but this thing is about being partners with anybody. I say any group that come to town. Being a partner, whatever. That's all right. Thank you.
If I may, I know last meeting we had, and I'm the only one that actually moved to approve it. Everybody else voted down on it, and due to the circumstances of culture, I believe looking at the flyer, it says it indicates something related to culture, and then on top of that, I think it's a promotional thing too. And redevelopment, community redevelopment agency is something that the funds that we get from the federal and Orange County, money that should be spent now. You can't sit here and continue to sit on the money, especially coming from legal. If legal is sitting here telling us, and I know it seems a little biased because we got the town of Eatonville legal telling us one thing, and then the CRA, which is the one that I think we should be going by, because not that I don't respect attorneyship, because I do, but from a perspective of our CRA, I think we need to go by the basis of whatever our legal tell us until further due. Now, I'm definitely in agreement with approving this. I know we've been kind of like putting it on the back burner for some time now, and I know everybody got their own gripe about, whatever legal policy that we need to go by. I think it's pretty much self-explanatory, you know what I'm saying? It relates to the culture of the town of Eatonville. And from what I gathered with the flyer that, Director Washington have, I think that's in relation to whatever it is that we're trying to figure out. So I think we just need to vote this item up or down. If it fails, it fails. If it passes, it passes. Instead of going through the theory of wanting to table the fight. So, and this event is on Saturday. So I don't see any need to table it. I think we need to go ahead and vote our conviction on it and be done with it.
I'm gonna have one more thing. Oh, did you want to say something, Chair? Feel good. As it relates to the line item, since that line item is where it is, I think we should have some conversation about how to move forward, because if we expend, and I do realize that the fiscal year is about to start, and that's understandable, but for instance, this event happened 4 months ago. If they host another event in another 4 months, and we only have allotted $2,500, we will only have room for basically one event. And so, if this is something that the board wants to participate in, then we should probably take a look at that in the future as well. Especially since if we do this, then other entities will want to, seek financial funding as well.
It's available.
If it's available, right.
I have a question that I'd like to ask. For the $2,000, what is that being used for? Is it for a stage or?
Well, we had a briefing today. We added some things to porta potties that I haven't agreed on yet. Some other expenses that we can see forecast in. So as soon as we towards those things there, we'll be talking about it at the briefing today. So
Will this be done at the expense of the CRA for billing purposes?
no, I mean building.
Like the 2,000, you said up to $2,000.
Right, we recommend we would ask for $2,000, but we need building.
And who do we give the money? Who the money goes to?
It's with the nonprofit that's
The nonprofit. Okay, yeah, got it. Okay, my conclusion in this: we've been going around with this since over a year ago, and we still haven't come to any consensus. All right. One thing that really sticks out more that weighs a lot, and that is, if it's in the plan, we can do it. Is that correct, attorney?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to base this on consideration that this is in the plan, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to support this event because it is in the plan. I don't necessarily agree with how it's done, but if it's in the plan, we can do it. All right. And it's only like a small amount of money. So I just think that right now we can just we can go ahead and move forward to this. I only have one other question about this event. Will there be alcohol served there at this event?
we have a license for that, yes.
We have license, if the town has the additional insurance.
We have our surgery, all that stuff, all the insurance.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, last time, we had all the.
Yeah, all that. But who has copies of that? The
We
demonstration?
would have it, yeah, we'll find out that tomorrow, all the things that we have.
Okay, and how many people are we expecting?
Well, it's a free event, so I can tell you up to 150 or more, depends how we promoted it. You know, so.
There was quite a bit last time. In May. Well,
Yeah.
whenever you had to, it was,
I missed it last.
it was pretty nice. It was really nice. And it's something that we need in this community anyway, you know.
Okay. All right, okay, if I said board members, but, I'm sorry.
So let's just be clear. Just be real clear. So we got 7 people up here that have all had promotional items or cultural things. That's $17,500 need to be put in that budget line item for promotional activity. Because you're speaking of unfair. It's unfair for one person to have $25,000 or $2,000 to put on their program when we have $2,500, and when you break that down by 7, it's like $357 a piece. So let's just be clear. If all of us up here had ideas, that's $17,000 going towards promotional activities, cultural activities. So I just wanted to say that for the record, and I would not be supporting it just because of that reason right there. What Attorney Shepherd said, because if you realize that vote went, whatever he said, if it had any type of weight or credence, it was a 6-1 vote. So whatever he said jarred us enough that it wasn't even a half or 4-3 or whatever. It was a 6-1. So I'm just putting that out there. And for this board, you want to put 17,500 in that budgetary item? Maybe we need to do a budgetary amendment, put it in for everybody to have $2,500
I just mentioned that if you come up, if any board member come up with an idea of being a support, that's what you're supposed to do. Not sit here saying all of us gonna do it at one time, or just, that's not the issue. And now we can do budget amendments like with the 2,500. You can't add one to that line item. That's what the budget things are for. So they're not saying the 17 and use that. Whoever want to use something at the moment, that's how it goes. I mean, that's how you should do it.
Question, Chair. Not really a question, just we have homes that are dilapidated around the town. We're saying, let's spend the money or don't send it back. But what are we going to do about those homes on West Street that need to be maybe torn down or, something refurbished, helping our community that way, slum and blight. And if it can't help everybody, it shouldn't be used. That's what I was always taught through my CRA meetings. If it can't help everybody, then it shouldn't be. So like the paving plant that's coming up there. If you can't paint everyone's house or get them an apple tree in their yard, then it shouldn't be done. But like you said, we're just gonna do what Board Member Max said, put it up or down, and we just go from there. And that's all I have to say.
I'm not making this a precedent for the future, but I am going to support it for now, because this is the third time this has come up. So if it's in the plan, we can do it. And we were also informed that, not that you can or can't, but if it's in the plan, if this is something that was voted upon in the 1997 plan, and if it's in there for whatever reason, then we can't do it. But what I would like to see in the future is when it comes down to special events, especially dealing with CRA funds, it needs to be raised, just like we raised the MLK funds, so all the other special event funds that we have here in the town. So this is not an exception. So that's my opinion. Yes.
My last tidbit is that, piggybacking off of what you said, if this is something that we're gonna do moving forward, then we need probably, in addition to a budget amendment, a different budget line title as well. Because I think when you kind of confuse promotion with culture and arts, you kind of limit yourself with what you can do. And I think that if we're going to support special events per se, then we need to title that line item to something that is more fit to the type of events that we'll be supporting. I want to make sure that the promotional events gets to do justice that it deserves for those funds. Not that this doesn't meet that criteria, of course, but just if we are going to be doing things like this, is every event going to be a promotional event, or are we going to be supporting special events? Because I think that the title of the budget line item should support that. That way there's no confusion. Is this a promotional event? Is this a special event? Is this a backyard barbecue? Then we need to title the line item backyard barbecue, just moving forward, so that there's no confusion, so that we're not bouncing and tabling and circling the drain on the same exact thing. If we're gonna move some money so that we can participate in these type of activities going forward, we need to be very clear, very transparent, and very specific while being intentional about where we spend these tax increment dollars.
Madam Chair, if I could, and I think what would help, and I believe that Board Member Critton is directly on point, it has to be very specific, and that's why I said that maybe you need to title it something else. 163.37 is very specific about what you cannot do. And it does not say that you cannot do these types of events. But I also looked at 163.37, and what's of interest to me And if you title it the proper way, not only does it fit inside of your plan, but I think that it also alleviates some of the angst with moving forward. But right here in this section here, and specifically I'm speaking of 163.370, and it talks about for what the monies can be used for. It states to develop, test, and report methods and techniques and carry out demonstrations and other activities for the prevention and elimination of slum, urban blight, and developing and demonstrating new and improved means of providing housing for families and persons of low income. And so if you have an event that is at least promoting those aims as a part of it, then I believe if that's in there, then that would help to give the specificity that's needed, that's what's going to be available at these events. But the other thing that it talks about also is that the funds can be used to develop and implement community policing innovations. And if you're talking about community policing innovations at these events, and it's specifically spelled out, I think that it can be used because it's in the plan anyways. But I think that the angst, if you are going to use a new line item, that you use it with this specific language in mind, that when these types of requests come for expenditures for events, that as long as these things meet these criteria that is within the statute, that it kind of takes the angst away from being able to move forward with approving it. But again, I say, because it's in the plan, and I've said this before, and I will continue to say, because it is in the plan, it is something that can be used. But again, I say just so long as the presence of the CRA for a specific purpose is present there.
And I do appreciate you, Attorney Jackson, for giving us clarification on exactly how we can move forward with making this particular item move forward also, especially from a cultural standpoint in our community. And I know there's funds out there that are gathered and brought to the CRA for us to use. And I think this is a great idea that board member Washington came up with just, bringing the life back to Enville and doing something culturally. And it is associated with something culturally. And so trying to be Enville, but not even that. I think by us moving forward with this also, I know he had mentioned something about some brochures or what have you from the standpoint of CRA being out there in the presence. That way you won't have any backlash on, you just promote CRA during the course of you having this particular event. So if we can have someone from the staff, possibly have a tent set up and have brochures out there, kind of introducing them to the CRA and kind of like giving them an understanding of what we stand for. I think that'd definitely be something that'd be appropriate also. So that's my stand on it. I'm definitely in favor of it. I would definitely be moving forward to approve it. And I just want to go ahead and put that out there with the brochures and things that could possibly help us.
Okay, the last comment that is, we want this to be a ongoing issue that people are coming to ask for funds for special events. And because you do it for this person, you do it for that person. Because I can see this happen. And we have to be very mindful of what Attorney Jackson had mentioned. This is really not a cultural event. If we're going to support whatever's in the plan, if it's in the plan for us to do these things, it still goes back to this is all about housing, blight areas, things that we can do to help. But because this has come before many times, I'm going to do an exception this time. And let's just try to move this forward. And then we'll go back to the drawing board and get the right language that's going to identify specific use for what these funds can be used for on the CRA. Because right now, it's just an open ticket right now. There's nothing really specified. So, are we ready to vote?
It's already on the floor.
Motion?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no discussion, all those say aye. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposes?
Nay.
Nay. Thank you. All right. Okay, the next one is, this one here, approval of resolution CRA 2024-34. This one is, after conversations today and other issues that we have with this particular program, I called the owner and, I spoke to the owner, also the CAO about this particular one, and I would like to move to, we're gonna have to table this one, because of the notice, because we have a lot of unanswered issues for the program. We want to make sure that we're doing it right and it's accurate. There's a lot of things that has to be put in place. It has to go before the Historic Preservation Board, and if you do any changes in the community towards buildings, housing, and it's a great project. Also, it requires to have a review committee that's comprised of someone from the planning board, also from the CRA board, and and also the CAO would have to be involved, and as well as the planner. So we're not really ready for this right now, but we do have this on the table, and I did speak to the owner about pulling this particular resolution. So what shall I do? Shall I move to table this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we need a motion to table.
So moved.
So moved. Second, if there's discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? I have it, motion carried. Thank you. This more than likely will come back again. All right, next we have a resolution of 2024-35 approving the agreement for the paid and program for one of our residents located at 510 Catherine for $600.
Resolution CRA-R 2024-35, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, so forth. Eatonville, Florida Board of Directors approving a funding agreement for the paint, plant, and pave program at 510 Catherine Avenue in the amount of $2,600, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
You have heard the preamble. We have a motion. Move.
Second.
Is it moved and seconded? If no discussion, all those in favor are saying aye.
Aye.
Any no opposes? Yeah, almost had the motion carried. Aye. Okay, next. Approval of resolution CRAR 2024-36. The Eatonville Police Department requests to use the 2 CRA blocks to host a free National Night Out community event. Okay, Mrs. King, would you read the preamble, please?
Resolution CRA-R 2024-36. A resolution of the Board of Directors of Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, TOPRA, Eatonville, Florida Board of Directors for the Eatonville Police Department Special Events Grant Program funding for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Hey, you have heard the preamble? Is there a motion? So
Second with discussion.
Been second? Discussion?
My question is in regards to section 3, for funding. And it lists that a budget amendment up to $2,000, a donation. Can we
Not applicable for us. It was just something that they had mentioned what it's gonna cost them. It's from their funding, not from our
Okay.
funding.
I just want to
Yeah,
clarify. Thank
that's the
you.
way, it's the way it was written. It makes it look like it's on the CRA.
Right, because there's no
Yeah.
line item or anything else
Yeah.
that's
We
referenced.
just give them
so-
permission for them to use the property, which I
Understood.
think is an excellent idea. Yes, okay,
Thank you.
right. Is that it?
I've got one question about the property.
Okay.
I don't know if it's some poles out there. I know it's a septic tank out there. I don't know if we'll fill that in, level that off pretty good.
So what,
Septic tank.
is it self-contained?
It was back in the day, but I think we had, I don't know if we filled it in properly. I'll take a walk out there and check it out and stuff, but I thought we got that land. Look, I get hurt.
Are these the same lots that they use during,
So
for vendors and,
I know they roped it off though. They had it roped off. That was
cause I'm thinking if they use it for that, it should be,
It's one part that they had. Yeah,
that wasn't in use?
When they can go, yeah. I think that's where it's at.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that it broke it off.
Okay, we will go into that. Okay. So where are we? That's it?
I'll give you a call for the question.
Okay, so we did approve?
It was on second with discussion.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, someone moved it.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved it.
Second. Okay, you ready to vote?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. Any opposes? Okay. Motion carried. You all very much.
That's the one.
Okay, we have staff reports. Mr. Jackson. Mr. King.
Yes, just so you know, in front of you, you see a flyer that's two-sided. It speaks to the master plan kickoff meeting on September 28th. I'm strongly encouraging the community as well as, our elected officials to be a part of that. Master plan for the whole entire town of Eatonville. Also, you'll see on the back side of the flyer, it is the notice of new impact fees that will be implemented in the near future. This information is also provided on the website, has been, noticed in a legal ad in the Orlando Sentinel. And we're taking every step to make sure that the community is informed about the upcoming impact fees. So you have that in front of you. Also, just so you know, from the clerk's office, I will be out on vacation. I will be leaving Saturday and returning on the 29th. My services will be available upon my return.
That's an emotion?
Director.
Yes, if I may, I just wanted to, get some, clarity on this right here. I know we've had an item in front of us before, but, 41 Lincoln Avenue down on the, west side of Lake Bluffy. And I've had an opportunity to speak to the residents, and they said they've done everything that they're supposed to do on their end in terms of, getting the, approval to get the funds that we actually voted down on. Well, actually, I didn't vote down on it, the majority of the board did. But I think they're in position now to move forward with doing whatever it is to, fix the problem. I know we've had an issue with this particular item, and, there was so many different, red flags that stood out. And I just want to make sure that, according to staff, we have everything that we need to move forward with, possibly approving this, particular, item to get the fund, to have the corrections done for the sewage and water down at 41 Lincoln. I want to be able to help, you know what I'm saying, the residents out as much as I can if it's something that we can do. If it's something that we can do, I'm definitely in favor for it. But if it's something that's out of our hands, my hands are tied, but I definitely want to be able to help out in any possible way to make sure that we're pushing forward and getting these particular things done that needs to be done. Because I know out of the entire residents of the community of Greenville, there's only like 4 septic tanks, and you guys being one of them. And I know it's been some issues, major issues with this particular thing, and I know we've supposed to be tying in. I don't know if we even did that from a town perspective yet, and tying it in. Because I know it was a question that was asked years ago, and I guess there was one of the ones that opted out of it. But moving forward, the money's there. I think it's up to $5,000, and I don't think it was even to the significance of even spending that much that required the repairs of it. So if all minds and hearts are set clear, I would definitely like to move forward with trying to get approval for them to get the funds for that to get it corrected, if we're in position to be able to do it. And what I mean by that, if everything's legally done and all the documents been handed in and the proper notification's been done, I'm definitely, we're moving forward with trying to correct it. So.
Okay. On that situation too. That's one reason when the town needs to step in and put the ladder in, so town need to bring the ladder to their property so they can tie into the sewer system. And that's one thing that need to happen first. So we don't know where they're gonna come from the house or where they're gonna place it at in front of the house. So that's the first thing need to happen with the town side. Yeah, we need to have the town put the ladder in on that property. So that's, it can't go no further, because on their end, whatever they do, they might be putting the pipe over here. The town might put the ladder over here, so they're gonna be wasting money when they start doing work. So it's best the town start the process, and they need to go from the A with the town at, take it to B to the house.
So we can, Chair, if we can have a conversation with, town staff or whomever it is that we need to, seek that, responsibility from to move forward with this project, that'd definitely be something that, I think would be in our likelihood to, better situate the situation that we're dealing with. That way we won't keep prolonging it, because it's been prolonged since for a while now. And I know from a, standpoint of, health-wise, it's not a healthy, situation either. And I don't want to get into the, logistics of that either, but anybody that knows about sanitation and how that works when things are not working properly, especially when you're dealing with sewage and water, and if you're not getting a proper, sewage and water that, is required in this town, it's gonna become problematic, and we don't want anything detrimental happening to anyone in our community, especially our residents. So if we can, definitely move forward with doing something that would be spontaneous versus sitting here waiting for the next actual meeting, I don't wanna have, probably have to have a special session, just to get this matter done if everything lines up. So from me to the resident, I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that you guys are getting your due diligence and getting everything prepared. But first things first, like I remember Washington said, we gotta, we don't want to put the cart before the horse, so we gotta make sure that we're down our I's and crossing our T's on every event. But don't think for a second that we don't want to help, because I'm definitely in favor of helping, because I'm the one that I think move for approval versus everybody else that kind of voted down on it. So I say that to say this right here. Let's do what we need to do from the administrative side and move forward with getting it done. And I think we can come up with something to make this matter go away and work out for everybody. And that's my report.
I'd like to comment on that, please. Thank you very much. This incident happened sometime in March, so we can see what, it's been about 6 months now?
Yeah.
Since this, okay. All right. The problem is that I don't think that as a town, I don't think that we have any issues as far as fixing it. But it's just the legality issues that it has come up in trying to get this process moved along. And
You speaking to us? Oh, okay.
I'm saying overall, we don't have a problem with the town. Excuse me. Okay, if I'm disruptive again, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
I'll leave now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I got it. Go ahead.
Got some legal questions of my own.
Go ahead. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Okay, the problem is that it's a legality issue. It's not about the problem itself. Okay, but there are some things that is very questionable. Okay, first of all, I have spoken to, I hope you don't, I have spoken to one of the residents. I will say that rather than calling the name. Okay, I have spoken to one of the residents concerning this, who come forward to the board about this. Okay, and the problem is that the person that owns the property does not, at this point, does not object to this problem being fixed. But the problem is that the person who is the property owner, and it's not the property owner who signed the documents. Okay? Stated to me that I would not be responsible for anything, and I'm not signing anything. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a problem dealing with air issues with the family. Has nothing to do with the town of Edgeville, okay? As far as funds for this project, we have funds for this. This is a real good needed project that I think will be worthwhile. But we cannot move forward due to the legality issues of property ownership on this particular property. I had offered the other night to ask the applicant, who is not a resident of the property, okay, it's not the owner of the property, that she and her aunt or the relative come in and we can talk about this together. Because I'm talking to one person who's the owner, and then I'm talking to the applicant. So we need to get together, and I made recommendations for the owner, so she can pursue other action to get things straightened out on a personal basis, so that way she can be free and clear of any problems with this property here. So that's what the problems are.
Ms. Randolph, may I speak concerning that just for a second? I just wanna,
yeah.
just a moment, it's nothing
When I yield for
disrespectful.
you to speak, you can speak, but right now I'm speaking.
Okay, well, whenever you finish, can you allow me to speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Yes, ma'am.
you.
I most certainly will. I will
I
honor
appreciate that.
I will
Thank
acknowledge
you.
you. Yes. So what I wanted to do is just to make sure that we're very clear, and I do understand your concerns, so do I. I do have other concerns about, the rest of the three, from 3 months, 6 months ago up to now. I don't understand how that particular property is not an environmental hazard. With raw sewage, I don't know where it's going. I don't know if it's the pipe been fixed or what. So, yeah, maybe it was probably time for you to answer those questions also, so that way we can have a better understanding about what's going on.
It's
with
fixed.
this property.
This is the man that can tell you what's going on with it.
Yeah, I fixed it.
Can you just please be quiet, please? Thank you. All right. So I'd like to get some information on that. And so, okay, Mr. Didi,
Yes,
can you come to the podium, please? I am assuming due to your experience as a plumber in the community and well diverse and professional in your line of work, that you'll be able to answer some of the questions and identify some of the problems on that property.
Yes, ma'am. The sewer line was backed up, and like he said, it's only a couple of houses in Edendale that's on the septic tank. Well, this particular house was on the septic tank, but it was clogged up. So at the septic people come out to pump it out, and it's clear. So then I cut the line and put a new line in there, but right now it's just going to the septic tank. But what need to be done, it need to go around the house and tie it to the city. See, right now it's okay right now. It's tied to the septic tank, and the water is completely decayed, so that definitely have to be repiped. So all that, to me, all that could be one job. I can put in all new sewer lines and all new water lines, and that'll take care of the whole problem. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask your attorney the legality of this particular incident, this problem, because we want to try to get this resolved. Okay, so what is the next step that needs to happen? Do we need to have permission from the owner in writing about this, or giving consent to the town? Because Mrs. Kathy did show me a text message or email that she had. Is it from the owner?
No, she was just, thank
Come to the mic.
Okay, thank you. She was nominated from our grandmother as the executor. She is not court appointed executor. She was just nominated by the grandmother to make sure that these was done. It's called a life will. Life will, yeah. She's not really anybody as far as the courts. Okay, she's just the one to see that everybody got everything that they were put on the wheel to get out of the crop. Otherwise, she's just a granddaughter. Okay, but she did email you and myself with her really feeling that she is the true executive by the courts, which I found out not, that we can, get everything done that need to be done. She even signed Tammy O'Hara. She didn't know a lot about anything that was going on. So we got everything that done. Miss Ricketts, my son's aunt, the one that's on the wheel with him, we both came in here and spoke with you about it, and she told you herself she wanted nothing to do with it. I left my phone number with you for you to give me a call back because you said you wanted to talk to Miss O'Hara. She said you never called her and you definitely never called me back. So I found out after that, after dealing what else I had to do. So Miss Monday herself said, well, you need to get a letter, which I had Tammy to email you, saying it was okay because it's really, I've got going from bad to worse now because it's interfered with the water lines. Like he said, we got the septic fixed, but it needs to be connected to the city water line for the water to run through fully through the house again, and the septic, not even septic, just so. Because my grandmother, plus the ones that's been living in that house, have been paying sewage. And we wasn't getting it since 1972, March of 2024, that's when they took the sewage costs off the bill. So all this time, it's not as if we're asking you for money that we don't feel that we are entitled to. We're not asking for money for way back when everything happened that happened. All we want is that little problem fixed. That's all we want. We don't care about going back to there. All we want are asking is just to get that fixed, and he's the man that can do it. He's given us estimates. They asked me to get estimates. We brought those in. You asked me to get the aunt to come in that's on the wheel with my son. I brought her in. You asked me for a letter from Miss O'Hara. You text you, and I also have a copy of my phone of the letter. I'm just not knowing what else the town needs. Like I said, we're not trying to get a whole bunch of money. We don't care about that. All we want is that little problem fixed. And I know it's not the cost of how much money that's been taken away from 41 Lincoln to now. We don't care about that.
Okay, all right, okay, well, what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to mention something, I'm going to ask the attorney to elaborate. Now, in this process here, with your application here, you have there's some issues with the application, because the application is wrong. That's number one. Okay, you have me on the application that, I guess this is Mr. Nicholas is the property owner.
Right.
Signed
Can
this
you get
owner.
back to the podium?
Oh.
Cause.
Mr. Nicholas signed as the property owner. You signed as the applicant's signature. But you're not owners of the property. I also have an affidavit here that's been notarized. Here and on the notary, I guess when it says that all owners that they represent have been given full and complete permission to act on the behalf of the above stated request. And it's been notarized, but I don't think the notary realized that this property, it belongs to someone else. and not you and Mr. Nicholas.
It belongs to Nicholas
So-
and Mary Ricketts.
So this whole application will have to be completed again if we decide to move forward. Okay, so it will have to be done again. Then it says, have you received any funding assistance from the town of Eatonville today? You check no. Have you received funding before? Did you get your house painted?
I got the house paid. I didn't receive any fund.
Okay,
I'm thinking you're talking as cash.
But that is what we call receive funding. If you receive anything from the town.
Yes, they have.
The answer is yes.
My house, not
for the-
Yeah,
nigga.
your house.
So I have, but my son have not. That's 41 Lincoln.
Okay.
So he have not, I have.
Okay, I'm gonna ask our legal counsel for the CRA to comment on this issue. And I think he's done this before. Mr. Jackson.
If the question is, can any work be done on the property without the authorization of the property owner? Then the answer would have to be, no, you have to have the permission of the property owner to be on their property to do any type of work. I was just trying to look and see, who was listed as property owner. I don't see it. I do see that it is the estate of Weeder Ladder.
Okay.
But I believe that there's a will document that outlines who the executor is, who would basically speak for the estate, so to speak. And it's my understanding that the executor of the will is not any of the people that are on the application. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct.
So it would have to be whoever the courts have determined and decided is the executor of the estate from a legal standpoint is the appropriate person to act on behalf of the estate with regards to that property. Unless and until that is changed legally, then that's how that is supposed to go.
Sir, it didn't go through the courts, okay? That's what I was trying, it's a life will. The grandmother had her lawyer, it never went per se to the courts. She had her lawyer to nominate Tammy O'Hara as the executor. Now, my son's name is on the will, Nicholas O'Hara, which I don't know if you've seen a copy of that, or if you pulled a copy from the file here. It's on the will, Nicholas O'Hara and Mary Ricketts. Mary Ricketts came in here along with me, spoke with you, saying she didn't want nothing to do with it, to fix it, to do whatever she wanted to do. We sat right in that outer office in there, and she told you that. If I needed to have recorded it, I would have, if that would have been legal, but she sat with us and told you that. Now, Tammy O'Hara, I don't know if you've got a copy of that, approving whatever they did to the property as far as putting the line through. Because she is proclaimed to be the executor of the will. That will should have been done. My grandmother's been dead 18 years. That will should have been done 60 days after the death of her. She never pushed it. I don't know what her problem was, but it never came forward. That was the problem. She never came forward. Like, she's been dead 18 years now.
Okay.
And nothing ever swapped. So if he's got a copy of what she stated to be true, Mary Ricketts came in and spoke with you personally, her and I. Nicholas' name is on the will along with Mary Ricketts. What else do you need? Everything is there. I can't see where else I need to go.
Right,
really
Ms.
can't.
Niels, okay, let me just say this here. The person that will be very helpful to you will be the young lady that's sitting in the back of the room from Help CDC. And that's my advice. You probably need to talk to them or your relatives about that particular, and she will be so happy and humble to help you all to get through this process, okay?
So where is this lady? I mean,
The Life Center Church. It's called Help CDC.
okay, right now we are in the process, okay? I've already acquired a a lawyer who's gonna do it pro bono for us to get all this stuff done, so everything can be done. But I can't wait. It's not good the way he's living now, okay? It's not good. It's not good for anyone to live that way. After I've done all, I mean, I've been running in circles, okay? And trying to get everybody everything they wanted. Now, I've been speaking to some people, like I said, we're trying to get everything worked. And I wish this on no one go through what I'm going through with the town or the CRA. Because it's not fair. I mean.
Excuse me a second.
I'm just asking one, just give us
Hold on a second. I'm giving you one more minute and that's it, okay? That will be me. Okay, you have one more minute to
stand
speak.
or you wanna
You
talk?
can stand to speak if you want to, but you have 1 minute to do so.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Do I
Yeah,
continue?
you can speak for a minute. Yes, ma'am.
I don't even know what else to say. I'm done.
Okay, great, thank you. Do we have another member who would like to have a comment on those who are just question? Yes.
Taxpayers' funds, are they allowed to assist or help in private?
Yes, if it is under a specific specified program, for instance, like the pain projects and different things of that nature. There are various projects that CRA funds are used in slum and blight areas in order to address those issues that they are used in, but it has to be a specified program that the monies come from in that account.
And we do have, I think, regularization program we have, that will cover these things, because we've done that in the past.
What's it called?
Regularization.
Yeah, you can go through the CAB also with Orange County.
Yeah.
I was on that board, so I know that.
No, we're not doing that. Hold on, let's do something. We're not doing statutory house. The town need to tie in a lateral so they can tie into the city. We're not, anything on their property, it's on them. That's on it, but we can do a program, have a program to, like a facade, all the other programs that we should be having in place, we should have that to help them. Okay, so yes, it's things we can do.
No, we've done, if I'm not mistaken, talking to Ms. Monday, I may be mistaken, we've done our part of bringing it to, so it's not as if the homeowner come in time. I think we did.
Yeah.
But I think we did.
Did it? Y'all, they got a line?
I seen the green line.
Yeah, we did. So
It's there.
So the pipe, so my thing is, it should be a PVC pipe sticking out the ground with the top on it.
No, it don't have to be. All you have to do is have a pipe past the sidewalk into their property.
So I'm asking.
That's under the ground.
But is it past the property?
That's
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I say when towns do that stuff, they identify, they stick a pipe up the ground with the top on it. It's where you at.
basically what they do is they put a, you just put a street. That's why you see the blue mark, that's water. The green mark is the sewer, and the green mark is there.
The green one way is the ladder underground, but they need to bring it up to where it need to be on your property.
That's what I do. All you do is just stick the pipe in the yard.
They got to stick the pipe in the house
all the way around.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they don't have to stick up.
Well, I'm just saying, but most people, when you do it, process, they have it stuck up. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're right.
yeah, they have it.
But
already.
it's there. It's there. I seen it.
Okay.
I'll just finish and I'll be done with it. It's there. It's up to the property owner to bring it. The town has done their due diligence. Now it's up to them to bring the pipe to the thing. We've done what we've done as a town, not as a CRA, as a town. We've done our part. Now it's up to the property owner. And I say this when y'all consider president that when you do this, then it's gonna be other homeowners that's gonna want other things done on their property. And that's why I asked the question to the attorney about using taxpayer dollars to assist or enhance someone's private property, whatever it may be, a septic line, a fence or something. If it's like I said, if it's not in a program, then we open it up ourselves, a can of worms to be sued or discrimination or favoritism. Why can't I get it if they got it? And I'll just leave it at that, cause it is.
I think in this case here, I think it's more so of from what I gathered, it's the who owns the property.
Right.
That's the biggest issue more than anything. I think they're gonna have to get together as a family, clear the title up on the property. Then we can do our due diligence and come in and assist however we see fit. But until that is done, I think we can't do nothing.
That's why I wasn't approved.
Yeah, that's why we shot on the last time. I think they gonna have to get together as a family to fix that problem. She's saying there's a will, lawyer gonna work with her pro bono, then they gonna have to. It's whatever time needs to be, they need to have, get that done, that needs to happen.
You gotta establish ownership.
Yeah.
Once they do that, they can come back
They
to
can
us
come back
because the
in.
program is there.
Only one person at a time.
I'm good, we're good. We have the
That's a big
conversation.
Okay,
Program is there, so if we can get to a point of just getting ownership establishment and bringing that to fruition, we'll be fine. But until that, like I explained to her before, my hands are tied. You know what I'm saying? If it was me, of course I'm gonna go by doing everything legally, but you gotta present everything that we need to have, you know what I'm saying, as far as documents and things that's gonna put us in a position to be able to do what it is that need to be done. So I don't even know if it's been tied in. You say you see green and blue.
No, it's not tied in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Everybody's done their due diligence.
I don't even know if that's true. I will have to
What's
speak to
that?
Ms. Monday in terms of that, to see if that's even true.
What's that?
To see if we've done what we need to do in terms of, because I wouldn't know that unless I speak with her, but the last time I spoke with her, she indicated to me that it had been done. It hadn't been done. So,
Your part is just putting the pipe in the yard. That's it. She have to get a plumber to do the rest of it.
He's saying it's done. I'm asking more about what he said.
Well, I'm saying I seen the green line.
You just seen going by
but
going.
it's going by what the,
Okay, but
It's under the ground.
yeah, but you haven't done any digging just to.
No, I ain't got to dig it. You don't know.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, no. So that green line could have been there, right? So from what I've gathered, and I spoke, listen, I've been dealing with this for a while. And families or what have you, and trying to get the ownership establishment, all this stuff. We got documents here, but it doesn't indicate that they're the actual owner. They're just an applicant. You know what I'm saying? That's just like somebody trying to do an application from your home, trying to do some work, but you don't know anything about it. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta make sure that we establish the ownership to be able to process everything, to be able to use this program that we got, which is a really good program, up to $5,000 to do whatever it is that they need done, whether it's sewage or water. You know what I'm saying? But I know from a time perspective, from what I gathered from Ms. Monday, we haven't did that yet. We haven't did that yet, and for good reasons. Because for one, when they initially asked them, "Did you want to get tied in?" they said no, and this was years ago.
Right.
So we're dealing with the process of, okay, now we're to this point. Now we're dealing with this, and it hadn't gotten approved, so she's not gonna move forward doing it if it hadn't been approved by this board. You know what I'm saying? So that would be another thing that we have to deal with on the town side to be able to tie them in. So those are two different situations.
Right.
So we have to deal with it at hand, man. I want to help her out. Like I said, I'm pretty sure everybody up here want to help her out, but it's logistics to everything that you do. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's. And I think on the one that really pushed forward with trying to approve it, but this board didn't want to, so I have to go with this board, especially from a legal perspective. You know what I'm saying? And if the attorney say we can't do it, I have to respect that.
Yeah, I understand what he was saying, but what she was saying is she done everything she can. She done brought people in, their name on the will, or a son in, his name on the will.
If I can, it still doesn't establish the ownership.
Right.
Listen, it's a lot of people got wills on people, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't have the actual ownership of that property, that's where it becomes problematic. But we're just trying to rectify the problem. If you want something to say, Mr. Jones, you can get up to the podium.
I want to yield to, we have another board member that's turning that.
Well, that certainly.
Yeah, I think we're talking about proof. We could be talking about proof. The reason that this conversation was tabled is because ownership is the most important part of this conversation. And so as tenderhearted as we feel, we don't have the authority to do what we're being asked to do until probate is handled. The same way that the tenant is listed in the will, the executor is listed in the will. So if the will is no good for the executor, then it's no good for the tenant until it's pushed through the courts. So I think, we talked about even other ways of trying to kind of fund this. People have mentioned pulling money out their own pocket to kind of take care of this. I'm not saying that I don't understand why we're still talking about it. I know Director Matt was trying to get his report, but I think that we should just allow them to do what they need to do via the courts, and then we can move forward. And if I'm not mistaken, there was also a conversation about, and it could have just been the line part that was, said to be pushed over to the town side, but I thought that this conversation was going over to the town side in its totality, not just for the line. And correct me if I'm wrong, y'all would know better than I, what specific programs do handle water and sewage, because our paint, the 4 Ps, that program does not address this. Our demolition program does not address this. Our infill program does not address this. So if there is something that can be done, and it can be done on the town side, I know y'all have some say in all of that, but I think until we kind of handle the probate, and if they have an attorney in place that's gonna do the work pro bono, even better. I think that this is
But even with that
not a
being
topic of
said,
discussion
and
that
not
we should be having.
if I may, even with that being said, with, us, even if I came up with the money and say, hey, I'm gonna get, you're still messing with liabilities, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not the owner telling me I can do it, you know what I'm saying? So we just gotta make sure that we're establishing everything that we need to establish and make sure that we can move forward with doing it. And I know we've been talking about it, and I just brought the subject up because, it's near and dear to my heart, because you gotta think, if it was you know what I'm saying? But I know legally we can't do it. Our hearts are there, but if we can't do it, we can't do it. You know what I'm saying? And I want to make sure that she understands that, and nobody's up here against her or whatever it is that she's trying to get done for her son. So I know how mothers are about their kids. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure that you're doing everything in your power to make sure they're okay. So I understand where she's coming from, her point of view. But on the legal side of it, and we got law and orders need to be push, right? Yes. Yeah, but if we can do that, we would, but she's gotta go through the proper channels, by getting the ownership establishment and come back with it, and we'll do it with flying colors. I promise you. So.
All right.
Oh, no.
Are we done?
That was.
I'm doing I don't open up a can of worms.
For the record, Director Mack report was finished.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, Sheriff added additional
Right.
commentary. But he was finished with.
Yeah, I was good.
So I'm ready to adjourn.
Good.
Did everybody do their doing?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Board member Williams?
No report.
I say thank the board for supporting on that. But then in the future, I think with the line items, we need to start putting money towards items that we need to purchase. Just use those funds. That's something that we'll discuss with the chairperson at a later time.
Okay, I want to thank everyone very much for coming, and be very mindful, be sure and check be sure and check your emails for any notices that may be coming out. So, I think we're doing a pretty good job just trying to keep everybody informed about the finances, about every little thing that we can. We filter that from Mrs. King to make sure that you're getting the information that you deserve. So I want to thank you all very much. Thank you, Attorney Jackson, and thank you all for coming also. And can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Y'all, man. And Mark is gonna follow. Oh, yeah.